Well, hi, Charles.
Hello, Anel. How are you?
Very good. So I have to ask you this, and it might be a cultural reference that is not fully grasped by the new generations, but as the dean of, I guess, the largest college of computing in the country, are you a Mac or are you a PC?
I am a Mac. I am very much a Mac. I've always been a Mac. Even before there were Macs, I was a Mac.
So you're a total computer nerd.
Yeah.
Yeah. So has that always been the case? I mean, at what point did little Charles say, this is what I want to do?
I was 8.5.
Really?
Right. Yeah, I knew even when I was a very young kid that I wanted to be a computer scientist. I didn't know what that meant, but I knew I wanted to be a computer scientist or something like a computer scientist.
I am the father of 2 kids, both of whom ended up majoring in computer science.
You did a great job.
Yes, one of them actually endured you as a professor of machine learning. But when it was the turn of my girl, through middle school, she started getting some signals that maybe computer science was not for her. And of course, you and I know that she wouldn't have been the exception.
No, not at all. About the time that we tend to lose girls to computer science is about the time that we tend to lose girls to math. We tend to lose them to the sciences in general. And we tell them that this is not for them. And that signal is the wrong signal.
So another related but different question, how about boys of color, Black kids, Hispanics, who are also underrepresented in computing? Why is that?
So that's a harder question. I mean, well, that's a question that we could ask about STEM in general. It's a question we can ask about engineering, but particularly in computer science, particularly for Black boys, the demographic group that is most interested in going into computer science in high school are Black males. But by the time they get into college, they're not as interested anymore. The numbers don't show up. And I think there's lots of reasons for that. Some has to do with the signals that we talked about, that you get these signals that it's not for you. Some has to do fundamentally with where people go to high school and what preparation they have coming in and whether they're going to get into the schools you want.
Many of your students over the years have probably gravitated towards the Silicon Valley. Is the Silicon Valley not sufficiently open to women and minority as I hear? And could we do better as Atlanta grows into a next hub of entrepreneurship and innovation?
So I think the answer to the question is, if you look at the data, the answer is apparently they aren't. If you look at what it's like for people who live in Atlanta and the kinds of people who live in Atlanta and the kinds of people who leave Atlanta and Georgia and come back, then the answer is we have an opportunity to do much better. Either because there are just more people around, we're actually, it turns out, more cosmopolitan area than Silicon Valley. Not in every way, but in many ways. Or it's just because we're more welcoming.
So we, a couple of weeks ago, announced the start of the new School of Cybersecurity and Privacy. Why does it matter?
So to me, cybersecurity and privacy, and the end privacy matters, is really about responsibility, teaching responsibility, thinking about responsibility, and making it so that it's a natural thing that, you just, of course, I'm worried about this. And it's an academic enterprise. It's not just a research enterprise. It's an academic enterprise where we have to bring the people together who are going to help us to build these big, larger, thicker systems.
What's going to happen after COVID when everybody all of a sudden has experienced some form of remote learning? Is it going to change the expectations of faculty and learners? Is it going to change the market? What do you think?
I hope the answer is yes. Not because I think everyone should be going to remote learning, but because it's a tool that frees you to worry about other things. What I hope is that through all of this craziness that we're going through, more people recognize the possibilities and use it to do something and to create something that, was going to take 20 years before to get to. Maybe we can do it in 5 years instead of 20.
My understanding is that the undergraduate program in computer science is the largest. Is the largest major right now, which I guess now you account for more than a third of the entire student population of Georgia Tech.
We are 39%.
How big is this thing going to be?
I think it's going to grow to touch everyone, which is what I want. But my goal isn't to have 14,000 CS majors. My goal is to have 40,000 people, all of whom understand enough about computing to create and innovate in the way that they want.
Although it's a very interesting and very exciting part of Georgia Tech, that because of our scale, whenever we make a decision, for example, in curricular structure, in requirements, in what we teach or how we teach, you're really moving the needle out there.
Yeah. It's one of the great things about Georgia Tech. It's one of the reasons I love being here.
Terrific. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. We should do this again.